Foundational Black Americans, we're out here delineating, we're out here making sure that we are the proper representatives of who we are in our community. And the Tethers are mad. They're furious. They're absolutely furious that they are no longer able to represent Foundational Black Americans.
The price of freedom is death. We're coming to get our check.
Get this off screen. Welcome, my brothers and my sisters. I'm your brother Afro Elite. We're gonna have a good one tonight. We got some things we got to discuss, much to discuss, all right? Because with delineation and with us making sure that we gatekeep who can be our representative, who can speak for us, who can speak on our culture, when we make sure that we do all of that stuff, that recluses the Tethers from being able to come up and be spokesmen. And with that being done, we're seeing a lot of progress being made as far as us at reparations, most definitely, as far as us even culturally, as far as us economically, as far as us politically, as far as our relationship with each other. We're seeing a lot of progress in healing being made, and we're seeing a better future for Black America. We're seeing that now because we have stopped the issue of Tethers coming in and being all like, well, I'm Black too, so I got a right to speak on your reparations. I have to a right to speak on this issue because look, come on now. That's over with. It's been a long time. It's been needing to happen for many years, but we're finally here. We're finally at this point, and let me tell you, they are upset with it. They're upset. They're mad. I appreciate every single last one of you all being here with us this evening. Now, before we get started, what we got to do is we got to play the copyright disclaimer. That establishes to YouTube that everything we play thus forth is protected under the guise of fair use. And as we're doing that, what I would greatly appreciate for you all to do is hitting that like button, okay? Hitting that subscribe button. Some people are saying that mysteriously they're being unsubscribed. So if that might happen to you, and I'm not blaming anybody, but if that is happening to you, just double check and make sure, all right? Thus, that way going forward, you make sure you see everything because you're subscribed, hit the notification bell, and I will be right back. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. All right, here we go. Now, so I've seen this. I've seen a couple episodes of this, and I want to say we're going to have a conversation because all three of these men, Nigerian, people know I'm not too familiar with the bald guy. He was formerly in the NFL, but we all know who Emmanuel Ocho is. And then we have Godfrey. Now, if you subscribe to the For the Culture channel, we have recently did a live stream about Godfrey. Me and Zizi did a live stream about Godfrey because Godfrey had said some things about him having a claim to America despite him not being FBA, and he has just as much of a right to speak on that. So if you guys want to listen to that, you guys can go to For the Culture for that. But they have an issue with people being able to speak on behalf of Black people in America, and we're going to take that and we're going to break that down, and then we're going to do better. We're going to explain why we as foundational Black Americans are no longer allowing anybody to come into our community and then speak on behalf of our community. That's over with. It's done, and we're never going back to that. Now let's get to the clip. Let's get to it.
Right. I just started talking and people chose to listen. Acho, who are you to speak for Black people? I didn't make myself the spokesperson for Black people. Right. I just started talking and people chose to listen. I didn't. Why would that be a problem, you think, when people say that? Because I've heard people say that. Like, well,
okay, now here's the thing. Emmanuel, and this is like 10 seconds in, already got to pause it. I already have to pause it. Listen. He says, I didn't say I was a spokesperson for Black people. I just started speaking and people started listening. No, you branded yourself as the spokesperson for Black people because he had a whole channel with a whole playlist talking to white police officers. And we're going to get to that. We're going to get into that. if you guys remember this was a few years ago during the George Floyd uprisings, and everybody was talking about police brutality and holding police accountable. And he had a whole thing, got millions of views, having a channel, and the playlist on that channel was called Conversations with a Black Man. Conversations with a Black Man. So don't sit up there and be all like, well, I never said I was the spokesperson for Black people. I don't know why anybody's making that assumption. I know I titled the video Conversations with a Black Man, and I'm the Black man that they're having the conversation with, but that doesn't mean I'm a spokesperson for Black people. That was just the title and the name of the YouTube channel. No, dude, no, you're not walking nothing back, because we remember that. Starting off early, wrong already. Getting back to it.
Can't speak for us. Like, what does that mean?
I think
as if you're not
I
us.
think people are conflating culture and color. The dilemma in America that we're subject to is Black based on the color, not exclusively Black based on the culture. When I get pulled over by a cop, it's not, oh, you're Nigerian.
Right.
You look Black. I'm 6'2", 240 and Black.
Right.
You feel me? So the dilemma, the mainstay of the
I'm gonna let it play, but I am so sick and tired, and I know you guys are too. I am so sick and tired of hearing that lame excuse, the whole police excuse. I am so sick and tired of that. I'm sick and tired of police stops, traffic stops being a way to say cultural boundaries, which is what we're establishing here. Cultural boundaries should be ignored and erased because the police pull us over and could care less if we're Black or if we're FBA, if we're Nigerian, if we're Jamaican, if we're Haitian, whatever the case is. That is exhausting. That's disingenuous. And he knows it's disingenuous because throughout his career, he specifies several times how he's Nigerian. He reminds people consistently how he's Nigerian. So he knows that being Nigerian is different from being any other ethnicity. It's not, no, we're all this universal lineage concept that they want us to accept because of police traffic stops. They don't believe that, but they want us to believe that, and we're not going for it. Let's get back to it. I'm just tired of it.
The dilemma in America modern day is predicated upon the color, not necessarily the culture. Right. But when people are saying you're not one of us, they're talking about the culture.
Right. Yeah.
But the discrimination in America is based upon the color before you ever know the culture.
Yeah, right.
So I think a lot of people are conflating two things.
What about you?
Well, and I want to break that down too, because actually that's not true. And this isn't, and I want everybody to understand something. I am not the person who belittles anybody's discrimination because I understand the system. Okay, I understand we're facing racism. Okay, we're facing a racial hierarchy. All right, we're facing the system of white supremacy. I get that, and I'm the one who's consistently speaking on that. However, in order to beat that, we have to understand that. And we have to understand that all oppression is not universal and all oppression is not equal. And we do have to understand and acknowledge the fact that they do favor them. They do favor immigrants, Black, they do favor them from Africa. And I will pull some, hit the wrong button. I'm going to circle that back, but I'm actually going to show you guys some receipts in a second. Okay, hold on for a second. Hold on. Let me show you some receipts, because if they're making it seem like, oh no, we don't get favored at all. No, they treat us all the same. No, they actually do not treat us all the same. They actually don't. They actually do favor certain people over other people. Hold on. Look at this. Remember?
It also affects African Americans in a very interesting way, which is actually both the universities and the corporate employers are literally, this is true, they literally import Africans so that they don't have to hire African Americans because they still count as Black. There's a great
you hear that? Hold on, let me repeat that. They import Africans so they can pick them over African Americans, which is us, foundational Black Americans, because they still count as Black. Let's let them repeat it one more time.
Africans so that they don't have to hire, or literally, this is true, they literally import Africans so that they don't have to hire African Americans because they still count as Black. There's a.
Do you see that? Now come on, and they're admitting this now, and this is something that we've known for years. We've known for a minute, because it doesn't really make sense. Like we understand common sense, okay? We understand common sense. We were nobody here. Nobody. I don't know how old all of y'all are, but I do know one thing. None of y'all here were born yesterday. None of y'all watching was born yesterday. I know that for a fact. So I know we have some life experience to a certain degree. So I know for a fact we can all understand common sense a little bit. If you're here, you know common sense for real. If you're subscribed, you definitely got some common sense. All right. So we know for a fact that it doesn't make any sense that immigrants get to come over here and then next thing they know, in a couple years, they got a house and they got good paying 6-figure job careers, and they seem like they're skipping the line and they're getting all of this success and they at a rapid pace. And it's like, it seems kind of interesting. And they say, oh, they don't get no help. They don't get no help. They just coming over here and pulling themselves up by the bootstraps and working hard and waking up early in the morning to go to work on time and not complaining and being quiet and just doing overtime. And they're just making it work because they come from a culture of hard work. Don't you understand? They come from a culture that values education. And we are like, no, that doesn't make, we can't prove it, or we couldn't prove it at the time. But we are like, no, that don't make any sense. You guys are not coming over here getting all this great grand success over people who've been here. It take us a decade to get a house. It take y'all a couple years. And y'all say y'all just work harder than us. No, that don't make sense. And now people are starting to pull out the receipts that actually the dominant society is biased to you all. The dominant society favors you all. The dominant society is more open and welcome to giving you all opportunities that they are very reluctant to give us. They are. And we're going to explain why in a minute. I'm going to show you proof, but let me give you the short answer. They're like that because they don't view you as a threat to the racial hierarchy like they view us. Point blank, period. And we're going to go into that a little bit later on, but we're going to get back to the video here.
Because I would consider you, I don't want to speak for you, but I would consider me, yourself, I would consider us quote unquote bicultural because we grew up in two different cultures. Like facts. People tell me all the time, like, man, you sound like you white. I was like, I grew up in a Nigerian neighborhood. I mean, excuse me, Nigerian household. And I grew up in South. I mean, I would tell anybody, come grow up in the neighborhood I grew up in the 80s and the 90s and tell me, like, how could you get more of a cultural, quote unquote, culture? And that's what a lot of people want you to believe the cultural experience is because it feels like the culture has to be associated with something negative or bad.
Oh, yeah. And I also hate that the culture has to be like a monolith. As if being black is there's only one way to be black. And that's the most frustrating thing, and it's also an indictment on black people. Like there should be several ways to be.
But the thing is, too, is another's propaganda. The people who control the media.
Hold on. Let me be abundantly clear, because when we talk about culture, that's a different thing. When we talk about culture, we as foundational Black Americans, we have a culture as an ethnicity, an ethnic group. Nigerians have a culture as an ethnic group. They do. All right. There's people who have different cultures. We have different cultures. He's trying to cosplay. That's what he's doing. Well, there's not one way to be black. There's multiple ways to be black. You wouldn't say that. Notice he wouldn't say that about Nigerians. He wouldn't say, well, there's multiple. Nigerians is not a monolith. There's multiple ways to be Nigerian. I don't have to fit in this box to be Nigerian. Notice he wouldn't say that, but they're saying that about Black people. All right. There's multiple ways, but you're not FBA. So you're speaking on a culture and how there's multiple ways to be a part of a culture that you are not a part of. He's not. None of the people on this, I guess, panel, none of these people are a part of this culture that they're speaking of.
Keep it that way. I mean, you got to think about it. You're born in America. You see footage of Africa. It's flies and starving people. When the same people are down the street in America with flies and a big belly on their head. It was like my father used to say this. He said, "Africa, we have nice things," and we didn't believe. We're like, really? It's like, of course we have this, but on the news they will just show like we look like bush people, and it's not the truth. But then. Those same people that are showing all these negative things got property over there. They're in Africa hanging out that don't look like you because they want to keep that divide amongst. That's why the Chinese are so amazing, because the Chinese that are here are connected to China. China looks out for the Chinese that are here too. Africa doesn't really do that. There's a separate, they've done it on purpose. I mean, they've boarded off African countries. You got to have a passport to go to the neighboring country, but in Europe, you can take a train to Italy, and those same people from Europe are the ones that bordered Africa, so that Africans can't talk to each other. So the division of black Africans, Caribbeans was done on purpose. It was just purposely done, propaganda. That's why it's hard to change the monolith. We're all different. We're Nigerians, but we all do different types of things. But the propaganda, like, I kind of thank God for the Trump administration, because he's.
Now, hold on, before we get into that, what he said was very interesting. What he said was very interesting, because if that's the case, and let's be honest, it's a lot of what he kind of lightly exposed a lot of the corruption in Nigeria. If you guys had listened, right? He was all like, yeah, and there's passports where you can't go into other countries, and there's restrictions on what you can do, and the media and all of that stuff. Because let's be very clear. These countries, and I'm saying this because this is the truth. I'm not saying this out of hate. I'm not saying this out of xenophobia. I'm not saying this out of anything but the truth, because you got to speak truth to power. This is what we do here. These countries are still currently colonized. Can we be honest about that? A lot of people don't want to accept that, because it makes them feel bad. It makes them feel defeated. It makes them feel hopeless. But these countries are still colonized. And the thing is that they don't want to acknowledge that. And by them not acknowledging that, they can't solve anything. They can't solve the fact that they're still colonized. They're independent to an extent. What does that mean? You're either independent or you're not. There's no semi-independent. What does that mean? You can either do what you want to do, or you cannot do what you want to do. There might be some things you can do, but you are not an independent nation if other nations can give restrictions. And I'm not talking about putting tariffs on you or anything like that. I'm talking about make your laws. If another nation can enforce laws for your nation, you're not an independent nation. That's just the truth. This ain't bullying. This ain't xenophobic. This ain't me picking on nobody. But this is the truth. And this is the way Africa is. And the thing is that in order for that to be solved, you have to say, well, yeah, that's the case. The government is corrupt. And people want to just bounce and not look back. And that doesn't solve anything. Y'all leaving and y'all don't care to look back. Y'all don't care to be all like, okay, let's at least kind of regroup and let's get our resources together, and then we can go over there and we can build this community up, or whatever the case may be, whatever y'all plan, whatever needs to be done, or whatever country we're discussing at the time. They don't do that. They don't. This is why the problem doesn't get solved, because y'all don't want to accept the reality. The reality is y'all are still colonized. And this isn't a condemnation on your character, because as foundational Black Americans, we still live under a racist system as well. The difference is that we acknowledge that. We acknowledge that. We're not delusional. We accept that. And because we acknowledge and accept that, we fight against that, because we know that's the truth. We're not sitting up here in no la-la land like, oh, racism is gone. We live in a colorblind society. We don't do that. We understand, yeah, racism is still here. Racism hasn't gone anywhere, and we still got a job to do. And because we can acknowledge what the problem is, we know what we got to do, and that's what we're doing. Y'all want to leave the country because you deep down know what the problem is, but you don't want to admit what the problem is. All right? And you don't want to fix it. So nothing gets done because y'all don't want to be honest. You got to be honest first. Now let's get to what he was, what the next thing. Let's get back to the video.
He's screwing everybody in the ass right now. I love that. I'm a Trump supporter now.
They're going to come after you.
Let them.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, dude.
Yeah.
I do this on stage, bro. Yeah. I like that Trump is screwing everybody in the ass right now. Everybody thought they was good. Right?
Why? Elaborate.
Because the people that are on welfare are mostly white. And so they're showing their faces, because the poster child for welfare was black people. It was the welfare mother was black. Welfare was black people, but most people on welfare are white. So it's exposing a lot of people, right? A lot of poor whites, poor farmers, like, I don't have any money. Oh, but poverty was a black thing. And that's not the fact.
So you're saying that's exposing it.
Everybody's being evenly exposed. Like, oh, you don't have money either. But it always makes it look like black. We're 14% of America and 100% of the problem. What are we doing here? There's black people doing well, doing very well. There are black families with fathers. There's all of that. 83% of black fathers take care of their children. The highest percentage of fathers are black that take care of their kids. Out of white fathers, out of Asian fathers. But would you know that? Who has the highest degrees in America? Black women. But would you know that? No, because they're always twerking on the goddamn TV. Right. All we see is twerking. When black women are engineers, they're busting their ass, but we got to get it down to a twerk. Yeah. That's.
And I also think too.
Now, what's interesting is that's true. What he said is absolutely correct. What he said is true, and I'll say that's true. But that's not true for everybody. That's true for FBA because we're the ones who face that stigma. We're the ones who face that stigma, and we got to hold folks accountable for what they've done. We got to hold them accountable because it is the dominant society that puts that narrative out there. But come on, it's the tethers that reinforce that. Let's be honest. You got people coming over here. You got tethers coming over here, and they be sitting up there like, man, I got this, and my parents came over here with nothing, and we wound up doing better than y'all, and y'all want food stamps and Section 8. It's the tethers. You all are utilizing your blackness as a vessel to spew anti-black racism. So when the dominant society says, or when they try to demonize our culture, y'all are in lockstep and y'all are used as the foot soldiers. The tethers are used as the foot soldiers to go ahead and reinforce all of this propaganda. Look at this.
It's going to tick a lot of black Americans off, bro. Like, just
hold on. Hold on.
I started, and it's going to tick a lot of black Americans off, bro. Like, I'm just saying. I started looking at how other blacks in America, non-Native Americans, perform in the same context. Now, I'm Nigerian. Shout out to my Niger boys and Niger girls out there. And so, a lot of people don't like Nigerians. But a lot of the data, whether it's in Canada, US, UK, wherever you go, immigrant communities, black immigrant communities, especially Nigerians, tend to outperform,
crush the game,
everybody else.
Killing the game. Like outperforming white people. Killing the game.
Outperforming, they're still obviously numerically the smaller number, but outperforming other locally born black Americans.
That's right.
And then I was like, there's a conversation to be had here. I'm like, bruh, you're complaining about systemic oppression. You're complaining about the system is against you. Meanwhile, this other guy came from an even more impoverished environment, started after you. Because when he came here, he didn't come with nothing. He didn't move out to 90210 or whatever the Podge zip code is.
Yeah.
He moved into the same neighborhood you was in.
Grinded.
And a lot of times, I'm going to just say it for what it is. Y'all weren't even messing with him because you were calling him the African booty scratcher. Happens.
That's right.
Happens.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolute facts.
You talking about how the system is against you.
Yeah.
You finding another black brother who came from another country.
Yeah.
Talking down on him. Meanwhile, that brother says, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do my taxi overnight. I'm going to go to school during the day. And I'm going to have my side hustle. Fast forward 10 years later, that brother done moved out the hood and can buy the whole hood.
Right.
You feel me?
Right.
And so like when I was looking at the stats.
Do you see that? Y'all perpetuate, and we got to hold y'all accountable for that. Okay, you all perpetuate this narrative that immigrants are coming over here and quote unquote doing better, especially Nigerians. Nigerians are coming over here just doing the most. They just being great and they just making it, just grinding really hard, and they coming over here with absolutely nothing, which we know is not the case. All right. America doesn't just let folk just come over here. They especially just don't let nobody from Africa, no Africans just come over here. Most of the people who come over here, if you actually talk to them, they come over, and I'm not talking about the ones who come over as refugees or who come over illegal. I'm talking about the ones who come over legally. They come over here with some type of degrees or some work visa or a business or something of the sort. It's not the poorest of the poor. It's not even the average. Okay, the only ones who come over here are the best of the best. And then among the best of the best, their children and their lifestyle is about average. Truth be told, they're doing about average. You know, in that app, if this is average, they're doing about in this average range. Some doing a little more, some doing a little less, some about average. They are doing it in about average range. Truth be told. Now, if the best of the best, if we talk about all FBA, and we said, you know what, we're going to take the 10% of the most educated, the 10% of the top earner, the 10% of all of the people who have different talents and skills, and we're going to ship them to Nigeria, we would be beating everybody. If we put it that way, if the shoe was on the other foot, y'all would be complaining. We wouldn't be able to sit up there and be all like, man, I mean, we came over here in 10 years and we can buy y'all whole village. We wouldn't be doing that. But y'all make podcasts talking about us out the side of y'all neck. And then y'all wonder why we sit up there saying, okay, well, we got to delineate. Y'all wonder why. And y'all, and then when we say something, we're starting a quote unquote diaspora war when you all are perpetuating the narrative, because he said, y'all complain about the racist system. Y'all complain about the racist system. Imagine if we went to Nigeria, top 10, mind you, top 10. If we went to Nigeria and then we became successful, because there are successful people in Nigeria, y'all don't know. If we went to Nigeria and became successful and we said, man, y'all be blaming the government for everything. Y'all be blaming the government for why y'all poor. I came over here in 3 years and I got a house. Why you sleeping in the tent? I don't understand. Y'all just must not work that hard. Y'all keep complaining about the government. Do you see that? Do you understand? Because they keep talking about how the government is the reason for all of the problems in their homeland. And then when they come over here, they say we can't blame the government for nothing. We can't use the government as an excuse. And that's because they ass kissers. Truth be told, that's because they be kissing ass. And we don't. And that's why the government is nice to me. Yeah, because you kissing his ass. And we don't do that. But let's be honest, and I'm saying this because I want to show the receipts. It's the tethers who are used as foot soldiers and handmen so they can perpetuate, the dominant society can perpetuate their narratives, their anti-black narratives through them. So that's what they're all like, hold on, he's a black like you're a black. So if he says it's no racism, then it must not be any racism. That's them. Let me show y'all. We got some more receipts because they've been coming over here talking out the side of their neck, and we're going to hold them accountable for it.
I'm tired of hearing a lot of people saying things about black people this, Africa this, and that. Let's get some facts straight. If you hate Africa so much, that's fine. Don't try to find out where your ancestors are from. It's okay, you're born here, accept that. We accept that too. But we never force our narratives on you that are over here, or people who claim to be born over here. That's fine. But you guys find it so okay and normal to talk nonsense and say stupid things about Africans or the people that migrated from Africa to the United States, like it's the end of the world for them. Listen, let me tell you something you don't understand. Just because we come over here to adventure into things does not make us less of who we are. You should be actually grateful for the fact that Africans come over to the United States or to the other countries to help liberate you guys from the things you don't even know. Okay? It's just like in the Bible, like when God told Adam and Eve not to eat the forbidden fruit. I'll put it this way. We are the forbidden fruit. There's a lot of things you guys didn't know existed until we started coming here. If we didn't come here, some of you wouldn't even have that mindset to be trying to endeavor in different type of businesses. I'm not saying you guys haven't been doing that for a while, but at the same time, we are the evolution of you, not the other way around. Because the whiteys are over there still playing that card on your head all the time. But guess what? We show in within a year, we get in houses, buying cars, feeding numerous family members, starting businesses. Should I continue? There's a lot of African businesses out there that employ black Americans. Regardless of their backgrounds, they still give them jobs. But some of you are over here easily bashing people that you don't even know about. Some of you find it easy to say, oh, you African booty scratcher, you this, you that. What about you if we have to choose to call you a certain name? You'll be so depressed easily. We don't get depressed. We don't. We just sit there and find a way to move on from it. And that's why we believe we are mentally strong. We don't play on all this emotional stuff like every other.
But when we tell you to go home, y'all be sitting up there crying. That's why I just don't understand why there's so much emotion when we say, well, if y'all got it like that, and y'all he said he is, and Nigerians are the evolution of us. They're the 2.0 of FBA. Okay, let him tell it. They're our evolution. So if y'all are our evolution, then what we have in America, Nigeria should have twice as much or twice as better. But what it looks like, Nigeria don't get nothing in comparison to what we got in America. So what's going on with the evolution? Ain't that the home of the evolution, you say? Now, when we say that, it's like, we're all black, brother. I don't understand why you're being so divisive about it. Why are you being so xenophobic about it? What? Where's all this emotion coming from, man? I thought y'all were rock solid and super, super tough, and y'all couldn't, nothing bothers you. Nothing bothers you like it bothers us, even though y'all keep bringing up the African booty scratcher thing from like 25 years ago. Actually, it was really in the 80s, to be very honest. It's about been 40 years since people use the term African booty scratcher, even though that was a term used or insult used, a tease rather, used by kids among everybody. It wasn't like, okay, well, this is a specific thing that we only call African kids, African booty scratcher. This is a specific thing that we only call Nigerians, an African booty scratcher. It was never like that. Okay, y'all talking about something several decades ago, stuff that by what he is, by his age, because he doesn't even look old enough to have experienced that. It's happened 40 plus years ago. That didn't even happen to you. You got folks in their 20s talking about y'all called us an African booty scratcher. Folks wasn't calling you an African booty scratcher in 2000, 2005. That was not a thing in 2005. So what are you talking about today? They're lying. They're lying. They censored themselves before, and now they're just outright lying now, because that's not been a thing. That's been gone, and they're trying to resurface that as a way to say that they've been bullied by us. They've been picked on and excluded by us and made other than by us. That's what they're saying. All that, and notice that the person before and the person after, while y'all was busy calling us an African booty scratcher, we were getting houses. Why can't y'all get a house home? Why do y'all have to come over here to get a house? Do you know how bad it is for you as a grown man to literally have to flee to another country and then brag about how much better you're doing? Why you couldn't be successful home? You don't have no bragging rights. Real talk, man. You do. If you had to flee from your homeland to come to another person's homeland, to another person's country, to seek refuge with the opportunities that we have sacrificed, our ancestors have sacrificed for you. Okay, because when we was doing the civil rights movement, our ancestors was doing the civil rights movement. They weren't exclusive to who they wanted to fight for. They were saying, hey, we need civil rights for the country in general. All right. And you all are coming over here as the beneficiaries to a fight that you guys didn't fight. You guys are coming over here eating off of a plate when you guys didn't get the food, when you guys didn't cook the food and serve the food. But you guys are coming over here after all of the discrimination and benefiting off of that and talking about how y'all doing better than anybody. And y'all can't do what you guys are bragging about doing here. You couldn't do that home. You couldn't do that home. And then to make matters worse, what you're bragging about doing here, y'all not even doing that good. Y'all not doing that good. They make it seem like they driving with Lamborghinis and Ferraris, and they got a penthouse and a butler and all of that stuff. Y'all not coming over here being the Nigerian Bruce Wayne. You're not. They make it seem like they take a helicopter to school, like they Tony Stark or something. You're not. Y'all are not y'all not T'Challa. This is not no Wakanda. Y'all are not doing that. Driving Uber Eats and DoorDash. Come on, and scamming. And y'all get really offended when we bring that word up. But I want y'all to remember the word scamming, because we're going to circle back to that a little bit later. Just remember I used the word scamming. We're going to circle back to that. But let me get to the super chats real quick before we get back to the video. Okay, so we don't forget. Shout out to Dakota Jenkins. He says, delineation is the best defense against tethers. I agree, 100%. 100%. AO says, appreciate you, brother. Thank you very much. He sends a pretty good super chat. Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you. And then Jay, he sends a super chat too. Thank you very much, Jay. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate all of y'all. Much respect. Much respect. Okay. Much respect to that. Shout out to you.
Part of it too is like music.
Yes.
The music industry has influenced us in such a way where it's almost like you have to have this. Like I think about, you know, there have been certain people out there where they've had certain influences. Their kids want to get into rapping and whatever, and feel like I have to portray that I lived a quote unquote lower lifestyle, and this has become the standard of means you are a real one. You are a real one. Like, and I always trump people with that one, because they go like, you're not a real one. Like what makes me not a real one? Like is it the sound of my voice? And I'm like, how do we get out of how do we get that conversation out? Because I was like, hey, first off, I don't speak white. I don't even know what that means. I was like, I speak the way Akbar speaks, and this is just the sound that's coming out. But then the other part of that is like, who told you that proper only belonged to one race?
Yeah.
Like, who told you proper belongs to one race?
Yeah.
And that improper has been supported through our music, through whoever makes the decision for movies, to where they go like, this is what it means to be. Like I've been told by my marketing agent. I remember telling him like, yeah, you're just a little too clean. That's why you don't have the same type of marketability. You're just a little too clean. I'm like, keep talking. What does that even mean? You're too clean. I was like, you're like, what? And I forgot. Oh man, there's just a movie about this. The dude, he's a book writer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's with Jeffrey Wright.
Jeffrey Wright.
Ah, I saw it. It was so good.
And I told.
Oh, American Fiction.
Yeah, American Fiction. Yeah. And I told Jeffrey, I said, that movie spoke to me so much, because it was like he was able to sell all these books because he portrayed like, oh, I'm straight hood. I'm from the...
Because he followed that other chick that wrote that hood-ass book.
Yeah, right. And then that's what was put out. And I thought like, wow, I said, I guess I won't get like the big marketing deals because I got to portray what you think the culture is. And so I like, what's the conversation to change that? That's the conversation I really want to have, to where we don't have to have or think there's this monolith of this is what it means to be black.
But even black people in power got to be the same way too, because you know, auditioning for stuff. I'm sure you probably start auditioning for stuff. I don't know, for whatever. You got black producers and all that want you to fill that stereotype. You go, bruh, really? Like they only see, you know what I mean?
I think but it has to be done in like a mass cultural way. That's in the same way that Black Panther reinvented being African. Now Africans were
before we get into that, before we get into the Black Panther thing, before we get into that, the whole, you know, people like you when you're, and this is a talking point. Let's discuss this honestly. Let's really discuss this. But before we do, if y'all could take the opportunity, if y'all could take the moment to hit that like button, greatly appreciate that. Y'all could do that. Much respect, much respect. The whole you're talking white, you sound too proper. There's a thing with that. There is a thing with that, because that has been like a talking point that some people say, but the deeper reason and the deeper way people say that for why, the reason as to why that is being said is because there is almost a caricature that you're trying to portray that you feel like white people present as. It's a way you're talking, and it's not, I'm speaking my words properly and I'm using proper, quote unquote, proper English. It's more than that. It's beyond that. It's an attitude about the way you speak. It's the context in which you speak. It's the subject matter in which you speak about. It's the angle in which you speak on certain issues, the way you speak about certain issues or certain people. It's the way you comport yourself. It's the way your body language is. All of these things. It's the fact that when you're speaking, you're trying to speak with a kind of nasally way. You're not really you're not speaking with any voice. You're not speaking normally. And I'm not saying make your voice deep. I'm just saying you're speaking normally. You're not speaking normally. I'm trying to speak with proper English, and it offends the blacks when I speak this way, and this is just the way I speak, and I don't understand why they're so ghetto and why they're so offended by my superior education, and it's just because of the fact that I just read books and they don't really know how to read like I do. No, it's not that. No, it's not the fact that you know how to read. It's not that. There's an attitude with it. Okay. And when we peep that attitude, we are like, oh, you're acting white. Oh, you're just saying I'm acting white because I'm smarter than you nappy headed Negro. That's the only reason you're saying that. You're only saying that because of that. You're not. I am just as black as you. I just know how to read and I know how to write and I don't be playing basketball and eating fried chicken and Kool-Aid. That's you. Okay. I am not a part of that culture over there that you guys have. You can keep it. Keep it away from me. That's how they act. Come on. Come on now. So when a lot of times when black people say you're talking black or you're talking white rather, that's what they mean. But let's get to now they're going to go into the Black Panther movie.
Intelligent. Yeah. We had the stuff that would heal people. Now the land looked classy.
Been doing it.
Like, you know what I mean? Like now it looked at it. I think there has to be a cultural movement that redefines what it's like to be black. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Michael G.B. Jordan and with this Sinners thing, they're changing the game. His contract that Coogler has, he's owning everything. They have to give him all of this because the movie that's making this money out of the box office is an original idea. Mm-hmm. It's not Marvel. It's not, and for an all black cast, B. Jordan, and they're changing Hollywood contracts for producers, and he's owning all his property, like everything. He gets the back end, and they had to do it because streaming is failing. Yep. So for black people to be helping the box office goes to tell you what Wesley Snipes did in 1999. I was with Stanley. My friend worked for Stanley. He said, "Hey man," he showed me Wesley Snipes saved Marvel. It was Blade. Blade said, "Black people sell. We can change." Like you said, it has to be a big cultural thing. They have to believe that this is. First, you got to see our humanity first. Yeah. It's when you don't see our humanity, you just think we're these things that jump and run.
But we also, man, like I think we got to create content that does that. Yeah. I mean, you think about some of the biggest shows and the biggest podcasts right now, and I won't say them, but y'all can use your own imaginations. It's just black people going on there to criticize other black people.
Right.
It's the craziest thing. Yeah. Like it's just black people going on a show to this black person did me wrong. This black person ain't funny, and this black person's wife looks crazy, and all these black people's wives look the same way, and all these black. And it's like, wait, so that's the highest watched interview ever on YouTube? That? Like just a black man criticizing all black people? Like that?
Okay, that's a diss. What he's doing is he's throwing shade at Cat Williams. That's what he's doing. He's not naming anything, but when he say that's the highest thing, and as a black person dissing every black person, we can. Well, that's a shade being thrown towards. Remember when Shannon Sharp? I forgot his name for a brief second. Don't know why. When Shannon Sharp did that interview with Cat Williams, and Cat Williams got up there and was really exposing his experience in his life in the industry, in the comedian industry. All right. And this is what Emmanuel Ocho was kind of throwing shade at. And a lot of people were interested in that interview, not just because it was shady or it was gossipy. It was because we saw a lot of things. And there was a lot of little signs throughout the many years that we've watched comedians, Bernie Mac, and we've seen his relationship and the way Steve Harvey operated, the way Kevin Hart operated, the way all of these other comedians have operated. We've seen that. So when Cat Williams kind of said that, we was all like, oh, we get it. Okay, that makes sense. He just really connected the dots that a lot of us have been seeing for years. That's why a lot of people resonated with that interview. All right. And he's shading that. Oh, there's, it's always dissing and dissing and dissing. No. Okay. Because people at this age of truth are they like when people speak truth to power. They like when people say what everybody really knows, but are too afraid to say, don't want to rock the boat. Everybody wants to be politically correct in all of this. So when somebody comes out and speaks the truth, despite it maybe not being politically correct or maybe it rocking the boat, people resonate with that and people respect that. People had a lot of respect for Cat Williams for coming out and saying that, for saying what he's been saying in multiple interviews, but a lot of people respected that. So that's why that video or that interview rather did really good.
Was it? Like if we were to choose the highest watched YouTube interview ever, and it's that,
Yeah.
like what's that say about our appetite and how we're satiated by this? So I have to take some ownership. We all got to take ownership. I can put it to some degree on propaganda, but there comes a point in time where we're playing the role in the propaganda. We're hamsters on the wheel.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like I got to look at my friends that look like me, and we got to take ownership of it. Like
yeah, and sometimes the ownership, is our own egos. Taking ownership of our own egos because those things, quote unquote, they get the clicks,
they do,
the views,
they do,
and so it's like that's what. It then suggests then that's what
works.
That's what
Now,
works.
Notice
then
when they're talking about our ego and our culture and our representation and all of this, they're not speaking on Nigeria. They're not. They're speaking because Shannon Sharp, he's an FBA, Cat Williams, he's an FBA, and they were talking about other things within FBA culture, FBA comedians, and all of that. Bernie Mac, Steve Harvey, Cat Williams, who else he say? I think he said DL Hughley, all of them. And they're speaking as if they have authority, talking about, yeah, we need to have, quote unquote, accountability, and we need to be accountable for the fact that we view that stuff, and we need to be accountable for that stuff. But they're not speaking on behalf of Nigerian culture and what Nigerians need to be accountable for. But they're going to speak for FBA culture and what we, quote unquote, need to be accountable for, how we, quote unquote, need to shift our entertainment taste and what we, quote unquote, need to be doing.
what happens is it's this whole victimization, right? Like, oh, this happened, we did this. And it's just this crazy cycle that continues to happen and nothing ever changes until we just tear each other down until there's nothing else.
But that's what, crazy enough, that's what gets the clicks. Think about, again, I won't say the name, let y'all's imaginations wander.
Well, I guess this is not gonna get any views.
Like, think about, bro, like, think about the most popular Instagram media aggregation that black people go to.
Yeah.
It's predicated upon throwing dirt on other people, even by its name, by the name of the room.
I know the room.
It is predicated upon being slight, like, and it has, it's the biggest
room of darkness.
Like literally, like when you really take a step back and you think about that for a moment, by title alone, this is predicated not on uplifting, and it's the biggest aggregate. It's where we all go. It's our hub.
Yeah.
And it's not uplifting. Yeah. And then to your point, we won't even talk about who founded it and who created it. But like when you really think about that, I'm like.
But the thing is that he said, to your point, you're not. What he's talking about is the shade room. That's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting that you're speaking on the shade room because the shade room is ran by Tethers. But you don't want to say that. You don't want to say that because then you would have to hold yourself accountable for that. If I'm not mistaken, I know it's Tethers. If I'm not mistaken, because there's many different blog sites, but I think the shade room in particular are owned and operated by Nigerians. All right. But you don't want to say that. Now you want to talk about, oh, there's so many of us that like the shade room and they like this entertainment. Now he's kind of reprimanding us for following the shade room, following this page or this channel or this interview or this, and you're talking about the shade room, but you're not specifying that it's your community that owns the shade room that perpetuates the behavior that you're trying to criticize us for. You're trying to have this as a demonization on our culture and what we need to quote unquote be doing better, but you're not going to specify who the culprit of the issue is. Because if you specify who the culprit of the issue is, then it would be circling back to why you guys have problematic behaviors and why delineation is necessary and why we cannot allow you all to cosplay. Because right here, the whole conversation, y'all are barely mentioning Nigeria, and you're speaking in this very cosplay manner because you're using a lot of us and we and our culture and our this and what we need to be doing, but you're not specifying anything. So if somebody who's not us, let's say a random person who didn't know who these people were, if they looked, they wouldn't be able to tell where they're from based off of how they're talking if they were listening to this point right here, because there's no specificity. Let's continue.
But isn't that that's the model for, and it comes even from the Bible. From a biblical standpoint, you realize that darkness has the ability to corrupt light. Like it has darkness has to, like my mom used to always tell me to be mindful of the people that you hang out with, because good or bad company corrupts good company. Yeah. And it's the same, I think it's that same mindset of, what we're seeing on social and throughout all these different platforms. That's another 154 conversation in the book.
Now that was that clip. Let me tell you, and this is why we can't allow him to speak, especially Emmanuel. Because there's something with Emmanuel, and we're going to have to talk about the dude Emmanuel. Because there's some clips and all of that. We're going to have to run the receipts on. This is exactly why we need to stop, because all of this, you're reprimanding us and you're doing all of this cosplaying and all of this. We need to do better. We need to do better. No, talk about Nigerians. Notice how they don't sit up there and he's not having a conversation about, well, as Nigerian men and women, we need to sit up here and talk about what we need to be doing better in America and then what we need to be doing better in Nigeria. Notice that they don't have, and even in Africa, rather. Notice that conversation doesn't go there. It doesn't go there. It always goes to what we, and when they say we, they really mean FBA, need to be doing better here. And we're not going for that. No, we are not going for that. Now, let me show y'all some of the receipts, because, boy, this Emmanuel dude, you should be the last man talking. The last man talking. Now, a lot of people know about the situation when this happened, 2023, I believe, 2023, with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. Okay. Now, let me, hold on. Don't even, okay. Oh, I've been had this clip. Okay, there we go. I'll tell y'all, I'll be keeping clips, y'all. I'll be keeping clips. Now, y'all know the case with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. You got where Caitlin Clark, that's the white woman over there, tried to tease Angel Reese, that's the FBA woman over there. And she did the whole, I can't see you, the whole John Cena thing. You know how if you guys watch WWE, you know John Cena, he'll do this, like, you can't see me. That's the thing. When he's winning, he'll do the you can't see me. So that's just what Caitlin Clark did to Angel Reese. She wound up losing. And then Angel Reese did the same thing to Caitlin Clark. After that, the situation blew up. It went viral. It triggered a whole bunch of race soldiers and a whole bunch of everybody, a whole bunch of people in the dominant society who was all like, Angel Reese, she is so classless. That's not what a classy woman would do. I can't believe that N-word would do such a thing. They were calling her monkeys. They were calling her the N-word. They were saying it's just the most egregious things possible they were saying about her because she's black and she beat the white girl. All right. And ever since then, Angel Reese, there's nothing she could do right in their eyes. Nothing at all. She couldn't breathe correctly, according to them. They wanted her downfall since that day. And that was some years ago. It doesn't matter what she does. And this is why they like Caitlin Clark. And we're going to tell the truth about it. Because ain't nobody was checking for Caitlin like that before. But they like Caitlin Clark because Caitlin Clark was the white hope of the WNBA. And they like Caitlin Clark because they feel like promoting her is a spite to Angel Reese. And if Angel Reese was out the picture, they wouldn't give a damn about Caitlin Clark. They only like Caitlin Clark because they think that's their rival to Angel Reese. That's their way of getting at Angel Reese. That's the only reason. But when she was being vilified and she was talking about all of the racist threats that she was receiving, all of the death threats she was receiving and the racism, and she broke down in tears, this is what Emmanuel Ocho had to say about it.
Nobody mourns when the villain catches an L. And Angel Reese, you have self-proclaimed to be the villain. Shout out to you, because you were the second best basketball player on the court, and it was not close. Outside of Caitlin Clark, it was you. 17 and 20, dog. Showed up, biggest game, second biggest game of your career. Absolute dog, but you can't, under any circumstance, go to the podium and now try to ask for individuals to give you sympathy. No one has sympathy for the villain. You painted the bullseye on your back. Why are you surprised when people shoot at you? So if you want to act grown, if you want to pose grown, if you want to talk grown, if you want to talk to grown folks grown, then you got to take the L like you grown. Because what frustrated me is when you want to be the villain, but you want to hope for sympathy like a hero. No villains in any sports get that kind of sympathy. Whether it was Richard Sherman in his prime, whether it was Baker Mayfield in college, whether it was Steve Smith, whether it was Aqib Talib, whether it's Draymond Green, if you want to be the villain, you're going to have to take it like a villain. So the only thing I didn't like, because Angel Reese's performance, it was phenomenal. But post-game, when you go to the podium and now you want sympathy, where was sympathy for all of those who you exposed your villainness towards?
All of the people she exposed her quote-unquote villainess towards. Now, she's not doing anything, and nobody can say she's done anything that everybody else in the game didn't do. Now, it's just this specific highlight that Angel Reese has where everything she does is like, oh, there she goes being the villain again. She's talking trash to players like everybody else in the game, but nobody else in the game is a villain but her. Okay? And this is how he did, despite the fact, overlooking the fact that she was talking about racism. He's all like, well, how can you feel bad about people sending you death threats when you're a villain? That's what he said. He wouldn't have said that if he was talking about Caitlin Clark. If Caitlin Clark did that, he would have been like, man, y'all need to leave that little girl alone. She's so precious. She's so sweet. Y'all need to stop bullying her. Stop picking on her. Stop being bad to her. This is what he is. This is who Emmanuel Ocho is. This is why we are sitting up here saying hell to the no about letting this dude represent us. We are saying absolutely no about letting that happen. Okay? I got some more stuff for y'all. Let me see this. Hold on.
Of hopefully many episodes of uncomfortable conversations with the black man. In the midst of all this chaos in our world, so many of y'all have reached out to me, and by y'all...
First off, I want y'all to understand, notice how he titles it. Uncomfortable conversations with a black man. He's not saying uncomfortable conversations with a Nigerian. He's not saying uncomfortable conversations with a Nigerian, so you automatically know what people are going to assume when you title it that way. So then when people say you can't be the spokesman of the black community, he's like, I was never trying to be the spokesman of the black community. Yes, you were. Yes, you were. Yes, you were, because you titled it that way so you can portray yourself as that.
I mean, white people have reached out to me asking, how can I help?
Oh, how Lord, hold on. Look
conversations.
At this,
hopefully many episodes of uncomfortable conversations with the black man. In the midst of all this chaos in our world, so many of y'all have reached out to me, and by y'all, I mean white people, have reached out to me asking, how can I help? How can I join in? How can I stand with you? So I've created this for you.
Do y'all believe that a whole bunch of white people were sitting up there like, Emmanuel, what can I do? All of this Black Lives Matter stuff is going on, man, and I just don't understand about racism, but I do want to help the blacks. I really like them. They're really cool. I want to help, but I don't know how. How do I use my white privilege to assist you, brother? And Emmanuel's like, I can tell you. I will create a platform that will educate my white brothers and sisters on what we all can do as a humanity, as a world, as a people, to save everybody. Do you honestly believe that that's how that conversation went? He was getting calls left and right. Emmanuel, tell me what to do. Jesus Christ, I don't know how to help you blacks anymore. Okay, no, I don't believe that. Saying, yeah, so many people ask me how to. Why would they ask you? You're a sports commentator. What makes anybody ask you? Why would anybody be asking you what they could do to help?
Because in order to stand with us and people that look like me, you have to be educated on issues that pertain to me, and fully educated so that you can feel the full level of pain, so that you can have full understanding. I fervently believe that if the white person is your problem, only the white person can be your solution. And
boy, that caught me off guard. And I remember that. He said, I firmly believe if the white person is your problem, only the white person can be your solution. So what we need to do is we need to educate our saviors. These are our saviors. These are the people who are going to come and liberate us, because we can't fix our own problem. Only they can fix our problem. We need Jesus. No, not Jesus. We need white Jesus. We need white Jesus with blonde hair and blue eyes to come here and rescue us. That's what we need. And what we need to do is be humble and educate them on how to do it. Boy, oh my goodness.
So this is made for you, my white brothers and sisters.
Oh God. This is made for you, my white brothers and sisters. Let me get to some of the super chats before we continue. Let's get to that. Junie says Tethers are not our friends. FBA for FBAs. Absolutely true. They not. They can't. Man, hell no. Absolutely true. Very much so. Thank you very much, bro. Vicky sends a super sticker. Thank you very much, Vicky. And then Mother Tree Moon says, get hearts. Hearts and Benjamin. Okay, out of here, please. He's trolling. I don't. If I see him, I'll let him. I'll get him out of here. Thank you guys for that. Okay. I don't see it. But mods, if we got trolls in the chat room, can we please make sure we get the trolls out of here? Appreciate you guys. But boy, y'all can see, and this is why we don't let people be the spokesman. We don't let him be the spokesman, because he's talking about, that's this all lives matter stuff of all we need is a big hug. This is what he's about. We just need to understand each other and to see each other and have this all lives matter big hug. That's not dismantling racist systems and racist practices. He's not holding them accountable. He's making it seem as if racism is a big misunderstanding. This is exactly what Emmanuel does. He literally makes racism from white people seem like a big misunderstanding. Now, he's not going to do that when it comes to Angel Reese. He'll call Angel Reese a villain. He'll call her a villain and say she can't feel bad for herself, or nobody should feel sorry for her. Just remember that, because of her villainy. But when it comes to white people, we just got to understand. And we got to understand where they're coming from. And we got to love them. Hold on. Let's get to it. And you wonder why we don't want Tethers to be our spokespeople? Let's pull up some more receipts. Got to pull up some more receipts now.
Another episode of Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man. I've read your emails, I've heard you, so I'm going to start this episode a little bit different by reading an email that gave me hope, changed my life, and I promise it'll do the same for you. Lynn wrote, Dear Manuel, I grew up in the 1940s. My family were good people who were unconsciously racist. Negro was a term we used. Racism, like religion, was drummed into me. It's hard every day to choose not to judge, but I'm listening. I'm 73 and I'm still learning. Don't give up on people like me. I'm awake now and determined to wake others up. Bless you, my brother and my son. Well, Lynn, I won't give up on you.
Do y'all see that? Do y'all see that massive love and ass kissing that they be doing? No wonder they come over here and do so well and get a house so quick. This man says, hey, I grew up racist and I'm still racist. It's hard for me not to judge. Judging means being racist. That's what that means. He's saying it's hard for me not to judge, but I'm trying. It's hard for you not to be racist. It's hard for you not to see black people as other than when it comes to viewing us in comparison to white people. It's hard for me not to do that, but don't give up on me. He says, Glenn, Massa, Glenn, I won't give up on you, Glenn. I love you, Glenn. Yeah, no wonder they get picked. No wonder they get favored. No wonder they get put on a pedestal and get given preferential treatment. If they sit up there ass kissing this is just sitting up there. It's mind blowing me. It's cringy to me. I couldn't do that. No 70-year-old white man can say, hey, I've been racist my whole life and my family was racist, but hey, can't have hope for me. I wouldn't be like, yes, I sure will, Massa. No, but he will. This is why they like them, favor them. This is why. They're showing. I'm letting you see the behaviors as to why the dominant society favors them. But we ain't done. Ultra, you the last person to speak on. I wasn't doing this for black people. I wasn't speaking on behalf of black people. With his conversations with a black man. No wonder white people feel so comfortable with that. Hold on. Come on now.
We weren't talking about Kenosha until after Jacob Blake was shot. We weren't talking about Wolf City, Texas until after Jonathan Price lost his life to a man in uniform. I fervently believe that an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. So that's why I'm here. Joining me on stage is Ryan McGreevy, Brendan McGovern, Garrett Glaviano, and John Antonio. Gentlemen, how are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having us.
Of course. Now, let's get uncomfortable. Ryan, when was the last time you had black people over at your house for dinner?
Well, before COVID, I can tell you that. I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'd ask you the same question. Well, like, when was the last time you sat down just to have a conversation with a group of black people, Garrett?
I can be honest with you, I don't know that I've ever had a conversation with a group of black people.
Yeah, I would say that proximity breeds care and distance breeds fear. Proximity breeds care and distance breeds fear. And I think one of the issues in our society is there's not enough proximity between people who don't look like each other. And because there's not enough proximity, there's a lack of care or lack of empathy. And there is a heightened amount of fear.
Do you guys, I'm showing you get this so we can put to bed. This is why we don't want these damn tethers representing us. Do y'all see how much massa loving ass kissing this is? When is the last time you had a black person over your house for dinner? Are you serious? And mind you, this was in the height of the George Floyd uprisings. They all like, well, when's the last time you had dinner? You ain't have no slice of pizza with a black person. No wonder, because we're not unified. We don't love each other. We're not close enough. Okay, unity brings love and concern and empathy, and distance brings fear. No, we don't want more integration. That's what he's talking about. We need more integration. The reason why we face police brutality is just because we're too distant. No, we're not sitting up there. We're not going to solve police brutality by having coffee and a donut with the police, by having a slice of pizza with the police. Okay, that's never the solution. The problem is the fact that the police do not face accountability for their anti-black racism. That's the problem. And here Emmanuel goes, oh, you know what? Maybe I can come to your house for dinner, sir. And maybe if you see my dark skin and I see your light skin, maybe we can be friends. And I think that the world just needs more friendship. Okay. Notice how soft he's talking to white people. Now, he didn't have that energy for Angel Reese. He didn't have to, who at the time wasn't even in the WNBA. She was still in college. He didn't have that type of energy for Angel Reese at all, calling her the villain, this. And then he's getting up there talking to white folks, talking about, you know what? I do see where you're coming from. And we do need to be together. Okay, hold on. Because it get worse. It get worse with Emmanuel, dude. Oh, hold on. Where is that? What the hell?
I appreciate that. I've got a question.
I don't know why this.
Imagine our kids here are 5. Each one of them have a different look. Each one of them have a different eye color. But, each one of our kids have these uniquenesses. And maybe to your point, it's okay to highlight those things, I appreciate that. I've got a question in that, if you asked anyone, even a racist, if they're a racist, I would almost argue, that all of them would say no. How do we attack and solve a problem that I would say some people in our community don't even understand that we've got?
I think that in America, we have to remember history is meant to be remembered, but history isn't always meant to be celebrated. And I think that we have racism so ingrained into our culture, we don't even realize we're blind to it. I go to Nigeria every summer for a medical mission trip. And there was a sweet middle-aged Nigerian woman who, as I was escorting her into the optometry station to get glasses, she refused to get glasses. She was like, I don't need them. She was bumping into things along the way.
Wow.
Well, 30 minutes later, after we fit her for glasses, there was a huge smile on her face because now she realized she can see the full depth of life, see all the dimensions of life, see all the colors of life.
Sure.
And I would argue that that's the same issue we have in America. Like my white brothers and sisters, until they put their glasses on, they can't see all the dimensions of life. And so they can't understand the full picture of, oh, maybe having a school named after a Confederate general that I have to attend as a black person, maybe that's a problem.
Sure.
Maybe having statues littered across campuses that I have to look at of men who would have oppressed, enslaved, and potentially executed me, maybe that's a problem. So I think that in America, we have to do a better job of properly discussing and placing our heroes.
Sure, Emmanuel, that's powerful, man. I have a quick story.
Okay. His white brothers and sisters, are blind to the fact that racism is a problem. They don't understand that having a slave master statue perpetuates a system and normalizes and socializes racism. I mean, why else would that? They didn't understand when they were crafting and building and funding and placing this statue at the school that that's what that was doing. They didn't know. They were blind. His white brothers and sisters were blind. Notice how soft and caring and loving, all lovey-dovey he is with them. You just notice that. They're blind. They don't know what they do. They don't. How could they? How could his white brothers and sisters do that? Now, he don't only have white brothers and sisters. He don't only have white brothers and sisters. He got other brothers and sisters too. And we got to talk about that as well too.
Up and speaking out against the currently speaking up and speaking out against the anti-Semitism and the hatred of our Jewish brothers and sisters, then you were part of the problem. You see, justice will not be served until those that are unaffected are as outraged as those that are affected. So though you and I may not be affected right now, boy, we better be outraged. I spoke to one of the youngest Holocaust survivors, and she reminded me that the Holocaust was created by the best brains in our world, the people that listened to the best music, those that read the most books, those that went to the greatest European universities. And while we hopefully are not on the brink of something as devastating as a Holocaust, the hate speech, the vitriol, the slander towards our Jewish brothers and sisters is as active and as pervasive as it's ever been. My Jewish brothers and sisters, I stand with you, and I encourage everyone, even if you're not affected, to do so as well.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He got all of them is his brothers and sisters. Let him tell it. Every single last one.
So that I can empathize with them and fight alongside.
Okay. Yeah, do y'all see that? Do y'all see that? Now I'm gonna say something. Now I know y'all. We it's been cringy. It's been cringy. I know. I understand, and I appreciate y'all patience. I get it, but now we got to get you. And I will give credit where credit is due. Van Latham had him on a couple years ago. Van Latham really called him out. Now I'm gonna play that for you guys. Let me get to the super chats real fast, okay? Because we got a super chat from For My People who says, Musty Tethers just can't stay out of FBA spaces. Get some mods, bro, so we can stay tether free. I have mods. I don't know where the mods are. I'm not, what's going on? I don't even be seeing all of this stuff. But okay, appreciate that. Junie, he says, Afro Lethis is hard to watch. I know it is, but this is just further proof. This is further proof of what we're talking about. This is how they behave so they can get up to the top. All right. This is how they behave. And then Yolanda says, how many episodes of that show? He had 18 episodes in total. He had 18 episodes. That troll is still here. Okay. Let me see. What is the troll? Says you're right. I'm not. Let me get this out the way. Okay. Because don't know where the mods are. He's gone. All right, let's get back to it. You see, okay. Now let me show you this clip. me see. All right, here we go.
What's that doing? How's that moving the needle? But I know people don't agree with me, but what I'm not going to do is publicly undermine them, because then now it looks like we fighting against each other, which is what people want to see from us in the first place. It's black people fighting black people. Go ahead, man.
We'll get to that in a second. When you said your method, what is your method?
My method is this. I believe that if you really want to understand something, you have to immerse yourself in the culture. I grew up Nigerian American. What that means is I have the privilege of knowing where my parents came from. I go back to my village in Nigeria. Okay, I'm track with me because I'm going somewhere with it. But I went to a private school, majority white, in Dallas. But then I went to church in the hood. Rachel can attest to that. Rachel, I think y'all went to Concord. I went to Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship.
Right down the street.
No doubt about it. So I grew up with black people. I grew up with Nigerian people. I grew up with white people. As a result, I know when white people say, well, racism doesn't exist, I know why they say that, because I've been in them rooms when they're saying that. When I kick it with black people and they're like, all white people are racist. I know why you're saying that. All the while, I have the privilege and luxury of not having generational trauma because my parents were born in Nigeria. So, man, my method is removing some of the...
Let me pause that real quick. There's something going on right now. Hold on. Let me get this off the screen. Close out some tabs real quick. Get that off. The whole, well, you know, when white people say racism doesn't exist, I know why they say that. Why do they say that? Notice how he's framing the situation. When white people say racism doesn't exist, I know why they say that, which means you understand why they say that. When black people say all white people are racist, I understand why they say that. What do you mean you understand? You're making it seem as if both arguments are either legitimate or both arguments are wrong, and both people are equally wrong. And this is the approach that he has. Now, Van is about to... I don't know if I'm lagging or anything. It looks like I am on my side, but we're going to get it together. Van is about to call him out for this, because you can't approach the situation and make it seem as if black people are equally as wrong or deserve equal amount of criticism as their non-black counterparts. That's not how it is. That's not how the system of racism is. It's not no tit for tat. And when people try to fix, quote unquote, the situation with the love as if everything is a tit for tat and both parties are equally wrong and there's just miscommunication and everybody just needs to come together and have dinner at a cop's house and have a slice of pizza, a donut, and a cup of coffee, and everything's going to be hunky-dory. That does not fix the problem. That, in fact, makes the problem worse, because what that does is that individualizes the issue. And it also makes the issue seem as if it is created out of ignorance and not out of hatred and discrimination. And there's ignorance on both sides. And that's not what the problem is. And what that does is that kind of softens the issue. And that's what the dominant society wants the message to be. Well, I'm not racist. I'm just kind of ignorant. I mean, I've been calling them the N-word my entire life, and it's just natural to me. So just forgive me. Give me a little bit of grace. That's what that's a part of the problem. Now let's listen to Van's response.
Sting, because I don't have that sting, and trying to deliver a message in a manner that people can receive it. Primarily white people.
Okay. Let me tell you why what you just said offends me.
Okay.
All right. First of all, there are a couple of things. I grew up South Baton Rouge, Louisiana. All my classmates were white. I was in the gifted program. All of my classmates were white from the beginning. McKinley High School, gifted program, McKinley High, 80% black school, gifted program, all white, Vans in the class with them, Vans in the class, Vans playing basketball and sports and everything else with the black kids. Mama from South Baton Rouge, all of that. I understand the being pulled between two worlds. I understand the having the insight into two worlds. You saying that you don't have generational trauma, and you didn't mean it this way, but the reason, and it's, I have to name it, you saying that you don't have any generational trauma in some way meaning, or that in some way meaning that your delivery method to white people is going to be either more effective or more sanitized is, to me, dangerous. And let me tell you why. Everybody.
And also, let me, first off, the whole generational trauma, that also, and Van, he's going to say something, but I don't think he's going to say this, or he's not going to say this part. I'm going to say this. When you say, well, you know what, I can do it better, I can do it because I don't have generational trauma, that is making it seem as if when we call out racism, it comes from a place of being too emotional. And it comes out of a place of not seeing things logically and not seeing things with a balance. That's and this is what they have an issue with. No, we have rightful passion to it, but it's not, well, y'all just got trauma, so y'all kind of traumatized. So when he's saying that, that's implying that as foundational Black Americans, we do too much when we call out racism and we call out the system. That's implying that, well, I mean, there's a lot of generational trauma about it. So, you know, I don't have this generational trauma and baggage, so I can be more welcoming and more logical, and I can have a conversation with both sides. So, yeah, the generational trauma thing is also an insult as well.
That you just named and what you're talking about does what they do in different ways. I don't think that any of the things that they do are necessarily harmful. But what I could say is a Black man, a prominent one, acting as an emotional butler for white people and serving them the most milquetoast, unspicy, unseasoned brand of racial discourse and accountability possible could definitely be harmful, because of what it does. I saw episodes where you were on there with Matthew McConaughey, and Matthew McConaughey out and out said, when will Black Lives Matter end? He goes, well, when is it going to be time for it to be over? But that's an outrageous question to ask at the time that he's sitting down with you. And it's an outrageous question to posit when we're going to be able to say all lives matter after everyone just watched George Floyd get his head blown off. I watched you also sit down with the police.
Did you say a response?
In the conversation with the police that I watched you have, there was nothing tangible that addressed the systemic issues of policing that lead to unfair and deadly outcomes all over the country. It was about whether or not the police liked Black people, whether or not they were nice to Black people, and even, as I wrote it down, the police are human too. Emmanuel, who gives a fuck? Like, we're fighting for our lives. And to me, having a conversation like that at that particular time, it's not that it's a different method. Everybody has a different method. Is that it's the wrong method. Is that it gives cover for a lot of the issues that you're supposed to be discussing. Roger Goodell's on the show. I watched the whole interview with Roger Goodell. Roger Goodell is talking about Colin Kaepernick in the past tense. Colin Kaepernick right now is fighting to get back in the NFL. If the NFL cared about Colin Kaepernick or what was going on in his life, Roger Goodell could be an agent of change now. You get the opportunity to talk to him, and the fact that he's speaking about a man like that in the past tense is just simply never broached. And when I'm watching it, I know that you have the best of intentions. You're a good guy. My question is, what the fuck is the point of all of this? Is it to make them feel better about all of these things that are going on? Like, for what? Like, why? Like, why are you talking to someone and there's zero call to action? It's just, now I'm going to go be a better person. It just don't work that way.
Is this rhetorical or is it actually a question to be answered?
You can answer it however you feel the need to.
And the reason why I'm going to answer the reason. The reason why is because Emmanuel Ocho is a tether. That's the reason. It's not that complicated. It's the fact that he's a tether, and the tethers don't want to make their massa feel uncomfortable. So he's there to have a conversation and try to be the bridge or the mediator of the conversation, of a racial discourse conversation, or a conversation between Black people and the police or whatever the case is. But he doesn't want them to feel uncomfortable. Okay, that's why police are people too. You know what I'm saying? Police are people too, massa. And Willie, I really do appreciate the fact that you called me the N-word, but at least you apologize for it, and you are doing better. So I'm gonna pray for you, okay? So yeah, he doesn't want to make them feel uncomfortable, and this is why he's sitting up there. Well, I'm a black man. I'm a black man. You see my skin. I'm a black man now. You see my hair. I'm a black man, and I want to have a conversation with you, and I want you to feel just as welcome. When is the last time you had one of my folk over? When is the last time you had a Black over for dinner? Never. Okay, well, that's fine. The cops literally said, I've never done that now. The cops literally was like, when's the last time you had a conversation with Black people? Never. Oh, well, that's okay. Now I can be your first person. I can be your introduction to having a conversation with a Black man, because I am Black. And this is why we sit up there and be all like, hey, at Foundation Black Americans, we cannot allow for them to represent all of this conversations with a Black man stuff. I don't ever want to see that again, hosted by a non-FBA. I don't ever want to see that again. No. Okay? Don't do that, because you don't speak for Black men. You're not having a conversations with Nigerian. You're not doing that. So don't do that. Don't do that. And then when you come over here, you're giving them a pat on the back, like, well, you know what? Maybe you don't understand racism is bad, but what we got to do is we got to be held accountable for calling the police pigs. So what's wrong on both sides? And I honestly feel as if we came together and we had a big dinner, like kind of like the Last Supper or something like that, and we just enjoyed each other. You guys had some fried chicken and we had some potato salads with raisins in it. And I feel like if we shared each other's food and culture, we could all get along. No, I don't care to do that. I don't know. And they want to do that because they don't have the quote unquote generational trauma that we have. They view them as, well, they're not so bad. The white people like me. It must be you guys. They view them that way. We understand them. This is why we can battle them better. We understand who they are. We understand who to trust and who not to trust. Okay? We already understand. We went through the whole integration thing. We don't need deeper and further integration. We don't need that. We need the systems that are keeping us behind to be dismantled. That's what we're fighting for. That's what we need. That's what we're trying to achieve. They're trying to be closer to the dominant society because in their homeland, they're not close. So when they come over here, they want to be right next door to them. Like, can I come in your house? Can I shake your hand? Oh my God, this is so good. You've never had a conversation with a black person? I'm honored. We don't do that. We don't do that. All this ass kissing y'all doing. No wonder we can't have y'all represent us anymore. Let's get back to it.
What you said was everybody does it a different way. What I said was the way that you do it to me is no way at all.
That's fair. I think that's subjective. It's subject to your interpretation. That's subject to your opinion, which I respect. I will say this: anybody watching and listening, I encourage them to also go watch any episode that you referenced, because some things were out of context. I would also encourage anybody watching or listening to understand that Matthew McConaughey asking a question is not an indictment of my response, nor did you submit my response. I would also, dude, it was 2 and some change years ago, so I would have to go back and.
I can tell you what you said. Would you like me to tell you what you said?
If you have the direct quote written down, yes, but I wouldn't want you to paraphrase.
Okay, what you said was not right now. You said right now it has to be about Black Lives Matter.
All right, well, then I would feel as though that answer would suffice to someone asking, when will that end? Not right now, because right now it is about Black Lives Matter. As it pertains to the cops, well, I also think it would be a waste of our time for me.
Do you know how bad it is for somebody to sit up there and be all like, when does Black Lives Matter? And somebody says, well, not right now. Not right now. Not right now. First off, you should be offended. First, you should be bothered. And the thing is, his conversation with Matthew McConaughey, it should have bothered you because that's not a good faith question. That's a question that has like a racist undertone to it. When is the Black Lives Matter thing going to end? So that means, when are we going to stop talking about white supremacy? When are we going to get to y'all being blind, or you guys turning the other cheek and being docile to racism? That's the undertone to when is the Black Lives Matter going to end? And for you to say not right now, not right now. No, it's never going to end right now, because it's not Black Lives Matter. It's Black empowerment, and Black empowerment is never going to end. Okay, the revolution is not going to end until the system of racism has been dismantled. That's the thing. But he's asking you these disingenuous questions with a racist undertone to it. And you're like, well, you know what? That's a fair question. He just said it. That's a fair question. No, that was a racist question. And you gave a very passive answer to it. Well, right now, you know, just right this moment, but we're going to pretend like racism doesn't exist later on in the future. So just be patient with us. We're just letting out some frustration. And that's what he was. That's what he said.
To try to address every issue you or anyone had with every episode. I think
At least it would be a waste of my time. I can't speak to your time. I honor your time. What I can say is this. Dude, it's subject to people's opinion, man. Like, if people wanted me to be harsher with Commissioner of the NFL, Roger Goodell, I get it. But I went in there with one specific question to be asked. What would it take for Colin Kaepernick to be back into the league?
Boy, no. I give credit where credit's due. Van, I appreciate the fact that Van was all like, no, that it makes the problem worse. And this is why, like I keep saying, this is why we can't let y'all Tethers sit up there and represent us, because what you guys actually do is make the problem worse. You make the problem more difficult. I ain't seen a single podcast where I've seen a panel of Tethers say anything productive. What even non-FBAs, I don't need, because Tethers are not just is not just all of them are not Tethers, but non-FBAs. I ain't seen y'all do anything or push the needle at all. All I see is when y'all get together, y'all get to tethering it up. Y'all get to becoming, oh, well, you know what we need to do, and we and us and all of this stuff. Y'all get to cosplaying, or y'all get to demonizing foundational Black Americans. That's what y'all do. We don't need y'all up there talking about how y'all should have a right to speak on us, and y'all should have a right to speak for our community, because y'all come over here and y'all got a whole bunch of vitriol for us. Y'all got a whole bunch of hatred and disdain for us that you guys don't ever call out. Let's get back to Uncle Toby, who's Mona Leo's manager. Okay, the whole Akata, I'm an Akata killer. Y'all come over here on that type of time. And then y'all and y'all Akata killers. Hold on, because I gotta circle it back. I gotta circle it all the way back. Y'all will come over here and y'all will be Akata killers to us. But then when y'all get in front of the dominant society, y'all talk about when is the last time you had a dinner with a Black man. Y'all get in front of the dominant society and say, hey, I've been calling Black folk Negro my whole life. Well, I'ma still pray for you. Notice the difference with the energy that they have. All right. Notice that Uncle Toby's also Nigerian too. Just got to keep that in mind. The difference when the energy, y'all will sit there, he's called Angel Reese a villain, and nobody's going to cry for a villain. Nobody feels sorry for a villain, but a white man tells you he's been racist his whole life and is still currently racist. And you're going to sit there as a passive little boy, talk about how you're going to pray for him. Y'all don't have this Akata energy, this anger, this vitriol, this hatred, this buck, this willingness to fight and be rivals with the dominant society at all. But y'all come on over here and y'all got this disdain for the Akatas. And then when we call that out, y'all sit up there and call that divisive. Y'all call that xenophobic. So this further goes to prove why delineation is an absolute necessity. It's an absolute necessity, and we can't stop doing it, and we can't go back. Coming over here scamming and all of that. And speaking of scamming, let's get to this. Oh, yo, yes, indeed. Speaking of scamming, y'all remember old Brick Lady? Do y'all remember old Brick Lady? Oh yeah, she's in some big trouble. Let me give y'all a reminder of Miss Brick Lady real quick before we continue, because that happened a couple years ago, almost a few years ago. So we're gonna do a little bit of reminder. She's also a tether. She's Somalian. She's a Somalian tether who comes over here and she starts scamming and doing little not cash app frauds, GoFundMe frauds. Scamming the community, but the last one she did was really, really bad. Okay, where she tried to create a gender divide and a gender war among foundational Black Americans.
Yo, this man just hit me in my face with a brick, and all these Black men just watch, and they don't give a. Yeah, this man hit me, grabbed a rock, and he hit me in my face because I would have given him my number. And all y'all just watch. What y'all see that? What y'all see? What y'all do? I want y'all to be a man. I want y'all to be a man. Do something. Y'all gonna let a man hit me in my face? Yo, this.
You see that? I mean, that wasn't just one video. It was a couple videos, and guess what? The Shade Room ran by Tethers all on it. Oh my God, this poor lady. Oh my
Every
God.
day.
Oh my God. The Shade Room was all on it. Supporting this nonsense, supporting this gender divide. It was the Shade Room that was the main culprit doing that.
To anybody in my life to deserve this. I never did anything in my life to hurt anybody. Literally, a man asked me for my number. I said no, and he picked up a brick in front of so many men and was like, "What you gonna do?" And I told all these men, like, "Yo, why is this man got a brick on my face?" And he's holding a brick, and all these is watching, and nobody does nothing. And he hits me in my face, and they're all just watching, and they let that get in the car. How is this okay? This is what y'all doing to women?
And if y'all remember at the time, it was a whole lot of blogs ran by Tethers who are trying to create a gender division between foundational Black American brothers and sisters. They was all like, well, can we finally have the conversation about why Black men hate Black women? Do y'all remember how many articles and think pieces it was after she lied? All of this was a lie. All of this was made up. It was a plot. This didn't even remotely happen organically. This was staged. This whole thing was staged, and the Shade Room blew it up. And then next thing you know, it was a whole bunch of think pieces about, man, Black men, why do Black men hate Black women so much? Why is there so much violence and anger among Black men who hate Black women? And all of that happened. And then it turns out she lied the whole time. She was lying the whole time. Not to mention you have agents who's backing that up, because I got to hold y'all accountable too. I got to hold the agents that were accountable too, because there was people who have profiles who was backing that up. Remember this?
On this brick lady charged in Houston after.
Yep. This was consciously was all in support, spreading the gender war. Okay. Because consciously he was trying to create a division between foundational Black American brothers and sisters. And then when the police came out with a statement saying that she lied and was making the whole thing up, he came out and talked about how we were wrong for holding her accountable for lying. That's what he did.
Woman known as Brick Lady charged in Houston after being accused of making the whole thing up, raising $42,000. So nobody read the article though, huh? Consciously, when are you gonna apologize? Because that little heifer was scamming. I told you she was scamming, she was lying. When you gonna apologize? The apology better be as loud as the support for her too. And before we even get into what the article proves and disproves, let's state the obvious. A lot of y'all don't have as much hope and legitimacy into the system or the legal process until it's about disproving support of a Black woman. Then all of a sudden, y'all become legal advocates, because just a couple of days ago, y'all was all about Martin Luther Majors being a victim of the system because his victim lied about the details in which how it happened.
His victim lied about the details of how it happened. And he's talking about Jonathan Majors, and we actually have video evidence of Jonathan Majors running away. We have video evidence of Jonathan Majors literally escaping from his psychopath girlfriend, his former psychopath girlfriend. And he's sitting up there, and what he had to do is try to throw a foundational Black American brother under the bus. That's what he did. Had to throw Jonathan Major under the bus to protect this tether.
The article proves that she was assaulted, but that she did not give the correct details about how it happened. According to charging documents, Osman and Douglas were in an argument, and Douglas reportedly swung his right hand while holding what appeared to be a plastic bottle and struck Osman in the face. Now, why is the headline written in the way to presume she made the whole thing up when the article is...
She did. Because she did. We ain't even got to play all that. Because she did. She did. She made it all up. She staged some of it, and so if they did check the cameras, it would look like there was an interaction, but the people who were a part of the interaction came forward, and they was all like, yeah, it was a plot. She made it all up, and she threw me under the bus. because then the lies she was telling started to get inconsistent, and the police started scratching their head. They was all like, "Oh, I thought you said this happened. I thought you said they tried to kidnap." She was saying they tried to kidnap her. Then somebody didn't give her her number. Then she talked to somebody. She was telling inconsistent lies. Then she started snitching on folk, and then those folk went to the media and came forward and was like, actually, that's not what happened. Actually, she lied about the whole thing, and now she's facing some jail time for it. Okay, that's now this is what's going on. Boy, accountability. Accountability's tough, ain't it? Oh, no. Oh, come on now. It says a Houston woman who went viral in 2023 after claiming that a man threw a brick at her head when she wouldn't give him her number, then raised more than $42,000 through GoFundMe, has been found guilty of theft by Harris County jury. Okay, she raised $42,000 through GoFundMe because a lot of people, and let me tell you what's so bad about that, because there are situations where women who and this is real, who actually are victimized, who are actually the victims, real victims of situations where they might turn down, they might be out and they turn down some man, and then dude goes crazy haywire and he attacks her, or anything, any other type of victims. All right. And it's not just women are not the only people who can be victims, but if we're going to talk about women who are victims, that stuff, there are actual victims and actual survivors who actually had sympathy for her because they understand what it's like, and they donated out of sympathy and wanting to solve a situation, to solve a problem. They wanted to help somebody because they actually saw a victim in her. But she was lying the whole time. And what that does is that worsens the situation and worsens the problems, because when you tell this lie, this huge, big lie, and the lie goes super viral, that means when an actual victim tells the truth, when an actual victim wants to come forward, there's this cloud of doubt around victims in general, because we just had to deal with Brick Lady. So now people are socialized by, okay, well, y'all are lying. So it makes the next woman who then comes forward be all like, "Oh, well, you lying for GoFundMe just like the old girl was lying for GoFundMe." I don't know. There's more speculation for the next person who comes up. And I'm not saying that there should be absolutely no speculation, there should be no investigation, but it does make it harder and therefore less likely for somebody to come up, because this woman just went viral for lying. So now society's not going to believe the next person behind her. So it makes it's actually bad on men because she lied on men, and it's also bad on women because that makes it worse for women. And on a third time, it's bad for foundational Black American men and women because she created a tension in the gender divide off of a fake scenario, and then said Black, and then that really implied exclusively FBA. So on 3 accounts, what she did was very harmful to the community. So she does need to be held accountable. Getting back to it, Rhonda Osman, 35, and she was 32 at the time, 32 or 1 or something like that at the time of the incident, said, I'm letting you know, I'm adding that in, said, have been told to calm down several times after the jury returned with the verdict guilty, after the guilty verdict following about 2.5 hours of deliberations. So it didn't take that long. They was able to instantly tell that she messed up. Bank records shared during the trial revealed all of the donation money had been spent. So she got that money and spent it immediately, had been spent. Harris County Prosecutor Keith Houston said, on trips to Jamaica and New York, restaurants, spas, and ride shares. Y'all see that? Do y'all see that? And we don't even gotta go more with that. So yeah, she does need to be held accountable and in jail for that. And in jail. She got that. She created a scenario. She victimized herself. She created a gender tension in the foundational Black Americans, among foundational Black Americans, she took the money and then said, I'm gonna go on Jamaica. I'm gonna go to Jamaica. I'm gonna buy Uber. I'm gonna go get something to eat. I'm gonna get some nice, really good, expensive steak, and I'm gonna stay in this nice hotel. She was living it up with donation money that you have people who spent because they actually felt sorry and believed that she was a victim. And you got us saying that we shouldn't be holding Tethers accountable. You got people saying we shouldn't be holding Tethers accountable. You got Pan-Africanists. I want to know where the Pan-Africanists were. Where are the Pan-Africanists? Who are, because it would be one thing if Pan-Africanists would hold her accountable, but you don't see Pan-Africanists holding her accountable. You don't see Pan-Africanists calling her out. Where are the Pan-Africanists who called her out? Now, I said we was going to talk about scamming. This is the type of scamming that they do. And then when they use that scamming money to get a nice house or to get a nice car, they'll sit up there and be all like, man, I got a car in 2 years. What's taking y'all so long? Because we doing stuff the legitimate way. We're not scamming. We're not stealing from people. Y'all doing that. So no wonder y'all got an influx of cash with y'all being pedestalized and y'all getting preferential treatment from the dominant society on top of the fact that y'all come here scamming. So no wonder. And then with all of that combined, y'all still doing average. With all of these advantages combined, y'all still doing average. All of that. And y'all still can't get none. Still. So saying this to say, this is exactly why as foundational Black Americans, we need to keep doing what we're doing. What we're doing is right. What we're doing is correct. What we're doing is working. What we're doing is going to make tomorrow better because these have been the people who've been keeping us in place. These have been the gatekeepers of our progress, and we're not going to allow it anymore. Just got to keep doing what we're doing. And if I would, before I get to the super chats, I would greatly appreciate y'all hitting that like button. Y'all hitting that like button. We've been in here speaking facts, spitting game. Y'all hit that like button. Greatly appreciate you guys, okay? Leave a thumbs up, double check, make sure you guys are subscribed. I would appreciate that. All right. Let me get to the super chats to support the family as the family supporting me. It says Nikki says, so tired of these Africans that are born in the US thinking that they can speak on Black in this country. They need to speak on their own. They need to speak on their own country and ethnicity and lineage. They do. They can't speak for our behalf, nor can they speak for the race. They can't do that. And notice that they don't want to speak on behalf of Nigerians. They don't want to do that. They want to come here and cosplay and speak on us, speak for our behalf. That's what, and they want to do that because that gate keeps our progress, that hinders our progress. They do that so they can become an anchor to our success. Because when we allow them to speak for our progress in our community, they'll get up there and they'll grab a mic and be all like, I'm a Black man. You see, my skin is dark, just like their skin is dark. So I'm a Black man, and I want to make an announcement and say, we do not want reparations. We don't want no reparations. We don't, our ancestors were not slaves. We don't want reparations and all of this stuff. That's what they'll get out there and say. And then when we wonder, like, damn, dude, why are people saying that? Who are you? Who are you? And where did you come from? And then we realize, oh, you're from Africa. Oh, you're from the Caribbean. Oh, no wonder. Oh, no wonder y'all don't want us to get reparations because y'all wouldn't get any. Brian Donalds at least admitted that himself. Hey, he ain't going to get any, so he's saying no. So when we let them speak on our behalf, they're going to slow us down because they view us as their competition. The problem is that we have not viewed it that way. We have not seen them as our rivals. But they're coming over here with this one-sided rivalry. It's not even a real rivalry because rivalries go back and forth. It's two parties. We're not going back and forth. It's not like been no diaspora war that's been mutual. It's this one-sided rivalry, this one-sided beef. that they have with us, this one-sided competition that we never knew we were ever in. And they come here and they be all like, we got to stop their success out of hatred, envy, and jealousy. So we can feel good about ourselves, because they have a lot of low self-esteem from having to flee. Let me get to some more super chats. CM 5350C says, Acho trying to become a cultural whisperer for Zaddy. He is. Yeah. He is. He absolutely is. That's a good one. That's a good one. And then First Class Citizen says, I wonder how he would feel if we made light of the that's a good one, of the Biafran War, where a lot of Igbo, his tribes, were massacred. Yeah. If he tried to do that, if he tried to downplay, if we went over there and we said, you know what, we don't have generational trauma from all of you guys' tribal beefs. You guys have a lot of tribal beefs and stuff like that. And, you know, we should be your spokesperson, because we don't have all of this generational trauma from your tribes that you guys do. Imagine how offended they would be. They wouldn't tolerate that at all. So why should we tolerate them doing it to us? Marcus says, what was Ahmaud Arbery's nationality? Well, Ahmaud Arbery was American. That's his nationality, because he was born in America. There's a difference between nationality, ethnicity, and race. So his nationality was American. If I'm not mistaken, I believe his ethnicity was Liberian. He was ethnically Liberian, but his nationality was American. So he was by his parents. You get your ethnicity from your ancestors. So his ethnicity was not Liberian. I believe that's what you were asking now. Okay. Let me see. For my people says, shout out to the sister Daphne, the queen of accountability, for staying on that Tethers bumper and helping her get convicted. Yeah. Hey, that was good. Yep. Got to check that page out. Yeah, but it was good that we stayed on her and we called her out. We called her out for that. Thank you very much for that. And then Cultural sends a super set. Cultural Superpower sends a super sticker, and I appreciate that. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all, family. Thank you guys very much for that. Thank you. Tethers know, because the Tethers have been in here trolling because they mad, because with these receipts, and this is why I showed you guys all the receipts. I know it's been cringy. I know you guys don't like to see it because it bothers you. It bothers me. I get it. I do. I get it. But I'm showing this so you guys can always have this in your Rolodex. So if you guys need a receipt, you guys can always come back here and get any one of the clips that I showed you guys this evening. You guys can always come back here and refresh on the talking points. This can always be evidence that you guys have in your folders, so you guys already know. So when Tethers be all like, man, we don't be doing that. We don't be doing that. Y'all have nope. Afro Elite, he got the receipts all already loaded. All you got to do is come back here and you guys get to pull the receipts back up. So it's I know it's difficult, but it's necessary so we can have this evidence out there. All right. I appreciate y'all for being here, because this is how we make things better. And this is why, and I'm letting this be known, because there's going to be some people also who are like Pan-African adjacent, being all like, man, but we all black though, and we do get pulled over by the police. And when we get pulled over by the police, they don't ask if you're black, if you're Nigerian, and if you're Jamaican, if you this, if you that. And then you can say, well, no, it's not about that. Okay, it's about culture, and it's about proper cultural representation. It's not about police. And then when we do have a conversation about the police, look at how the Tethers respond to the police. The Tethers are sitting up there asking to be invited to the police's house. So you're talking about, well, when the police pull us over, the police do treat us differently when they pull us over. Because when the police pull me over, I don't ask to go to the police's house for dinner. If the police pull Emmanuel Ocho over, he's asking if he can get invited to his house. He's asking if he wants to go for coffee and a donut. When we get pulled over, that don't happen. We don't do that. We don't say that. So yes, the police actually do treat us different. Okay, the Tethers keep a whole box of 12 Dunkin' Donuts. When the police come over, knock, knock, knock. Can you roll your window down, sir? it looked like you were speeding. Okay, you were speeding down there. You were going about 10, 15 miles above the speed limit. Like, I am so sorry, officer. I have a box of donuts. You can have one. You can have two. You can have the whole box if you want to. And also, you know, I would be so very honored if you would invite me to your house so we can have dinner tonight. And if not tonight, I understand that. I understand you are a very busy man, and I really appreciate you so much. But if any time in the future, you can always come to my house. You can come to my house right now. You can come to my house right now. You can sleep in my bed. I don't even like to sleep in my bed. I will sleep on the floor next to you. I just want to be friends with you. Have you ever talked to me? Have you ever talked to a Nigerian before? And be like, no, I've never talked to one of you. Oh, I am so honored that you have put me over today. I was actually on my way to go home, but I didn't even know if I want to go home to my family anymore. I want to sit here and talk to you. I want you to be my friend. You look like my Jesus. I have a Jesus back home in Nigeria. He's a whitey. He has blonde hair and he has blue eyes. And you have white and blonde hair and blue eyes. And I want us to be friends. Can you be my Jesus for me? That's my question to you. I read my Bible every day and he looks like you. That's how they be. Come on. That's how they be. And you want to sit up there and act like we shouldn't delineate? When you asking to go to their house? And we fighting police brutality and you trying to get a slice of pizza with them? No, we got to delineate. No. We got to delineate. We are not playing those games. We are absolutely not playing those games, family. Hell no. We delineating because we got to do that. Before we go, I need to send another reminder. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button. Appreciate y'all. Also, I want to give a special shout out to the Cash App also. We got a Cash App from here. Shout out to Andrea. Appreciate you so very much. Thank you very much, family. Also, we have another special episode of the For the Culture podcast releasing tomorrow. So you guys want to go to that channel, subscribe, and check that out. Don't miss out on that. And my exceptional family, I appreciate y'all for being here. Y'all have a good, safe weekend. And I will see you all later. Also, there's going to be some more things coming to the channel coming up next month. I got some more things coming to the channel. So hopefully you guys will like that. Hopefully you guys will appreciate that and be looking forward to that. It's a surprise, so I don't want to tell y'all, but some more things are coming to the channel. So hopefully you guys see that. You guys enjoy that. You guys like it. All right. Got some good surprises. With that being said, you all have a good rest of your night. Y'all stay blessed.